Hello everyone, I just figured that I would make this because why not? But anyways, we're just gonna get started with adding a new canvas. Please ignore the notifications, but I'm gonna start out with the felt tip pen hard on 1.5, and we're gonna make sure that the stabilizer is onto 4, and here we go. So I'm obviously gonna be drawing a NightWing, as you can tell. So we start out by at the top of the head near the eye, and we work our way down to the bottom of the snout, because that's just the easiest technique I've learned. The way that I picture the tip is like a bird's beak, because it helps me think like, oh, it needs to be sharp because they eat meat. But anyways, I try to make sure that I have all the lines as straight as possible, and I make sure that I have everything accounted for and I'm not missing any details that I need to add in later, because I do that often, so I've been checking from now on. But the jaws I still have problems with, because I either draw them too round or too flat or just too pointy for the type of dragon, and it becomes difficult at a time. So there's the head, partially done. Now I'm pretty sure we're gonna work on, alright, the underlining of the underbelly. And I try to keep the figure kind of the same. I got a little wonky right there, but that's okay. And if we just try, we can maybe have a straight line, but apparently not. So then we're going to come back up to the top of the head and work on the horn now. See, we're only going to do one horn right now because I'm a forgetful person, who knows. But just the stabilizer really helps out. I just don't like it all the way up on 10, because then it just gets too much. I need a little bit of freedom. But the stabilizer really does come in handy, and I highly recommend it. I'm also using the app called Ibis Paint. But anyways, just make sure that you're careful with it, because I've messed around with the stabilizer a good bit and I found the point that I was comfy at for headshots. Now, whenever I draw the wings on my full bodies, it's completely different, because I'm not really sure what stabilizer I need. But the ears are probably my hardest thing to get down. I still obviously haven't gotten the hang of it quite yet, but I will eventually. As you can see, it takes me multiple attempts to try and get the difference from the outer part of the ear and the inner part. And I always forget that line on the horn, but I remembered it this time because, I don't know, I guess I remembered this time. Always make sure that you go through your art and make sure that you don't leave any little gaps or something, because if you go to color it, there's going to be a huge problem. Because then you go to select the color and you'll fill it in and find out there's a huge gap, so now your entire canvas is covered. The coloring will be done next episode. This is just me doing the outline and stuff. This is going to be, I don't even know, maybe 2 parts, at most 3, but the bottom part. For headshots, I like to cut it off right before the shoulder. But sometimes I cut it off a little bit earlier, because I don't want to have to do intricate designs. Who knows, but we're drawing the top part that's going to have the spikes on it. So now this part, I obviously can't seem to get the proper curve. So you may see the lines get a little wonky, but I'll go back and finish them in a minute. I'll go back and erase them and fix them, so there won't be any problems. Now, you saw how I went over the ear. That's just the easiest way it is for me to be able to go back and just erase the part that's on the ear. Because it's hard for me to draw a line, stop it, and then try and continue it at the same time. And that's the amazing thing about digital art, is that it's so much easier to erase something like that. So this is me going back and finishing the lines and stuff, trying to make them look a little bit nicer and have them appropriate. I'm going to show you the brush again just to make sure that you guys got what I was going to be using. The felt tip pen hard at 1.5. That one seems to be the easiest for me. I have messed around with tons of brushes in the past, and this one just seems to be the one that I like the most. Alright, I have erased the part on the ear. Now everything looks good. So now we're going to be working on the spikes. Now you try and keep the spikes at like minimum 2 lines, because you want the swiftness of the edge, but you also want the smoothness, like what I'm doing right now. I try and keep it at least 2 to 3 lines, because sometimes it's hard to get the entire spike in frame. And I'm going to go back and fix this one really quick. But it's okay to make mistakes, because mistakes are what help you learn. Don't get down whenever you make a mistake on a piece of art. Just learn from it. Move on. Push aside. It has taken me forever to get to a comfortable spot where I actually enjoyed drawing headshots of dragons. I'm still not okay with my full bodies because they just don't make me... They look weird and kind of stiff. But the NightWing was the first ever dragon I actually ever tried to draw off of, like, without tracing, because whenever I was younger I used to trace them, but I would never post them. But my first NightWing, her name is Columba, she was the first one I ever attempted to draw, and you can see a huge difference from her and to this one. But I'm going to be adding the line that cuts off the underbelly from the scales. Most people do lineless art, and I've done it before. I've tinkered around with it, and I find it extremely difficult to try and show the difference between the scales from the underbelly. It just kind of like all smooths in, and then getting the underside of the scales. But now that we finished that, we're going to be starting on getting the scale pattern down. Now, NightWing seemed to have a more simpler scale pattern, so this also makes it kind of easy for me. But remember, try and make sure to have one swift movement and find a spot that you're comfy. It's okay if you don't like how it looks and you want to hit the back arrow and try again. That's perfect. Sometimes it takes me multiple times. See? Like that. You just have to keep retrying until you're happy with what you have. And don't settle for anything less than you think that you can do, because you're an amazing artist and I know that you can do amazing things. So don't settle for anything lower than what you think you can do. Now, with the scales, I always have trouble with curved necks because I can never seem to have the scales fit at a proper time, and I still haven't fixed it. It's still a little wonky. Like you'll see later down in the neck where whenever it moves to match with the back, it kind of goes a little weird. And I've learned to just deal with that, but I think I got distracted by the TV here, because why not? But I always have a background noise going on whenever I do art because it helps me think and calm, and it kind of gives me an inspiration. It just gives me the drive to do the art. This is what we have so far. We're just going to go ahead and hopefully quickly finish up the scale pattern. Actually, now that I think about it, the sky wings might be or the rain wings might be the easiest to have for scale patterns, because they don't seem to have a lot of intricate scales like this. The most difficult ones I think I have a problem with are the mud wings, because I haven't officially ever drawn one and posted. I've drawn sketches and stuff, but I just think that they're very difficult, but they're amazing. I love mud wings so much. They're just big and warm feeling. I don't know. But we're gonna finish up these scales real quick, and I can't remember what I did next. Oh yeah, that's right. Okay, so I'm gonna show you how it's going, and then we're going to go ahead and do the next horn, because the details on the face need to be done with a smaller sized pen so you can have a more comfy fit. But we'll get to that in a minute once I finish this other horn. I still have problems with this too. I can't seem to draw the other side of the dragon, but I'm sure I'll get the hang of it at least one day. So as you can see, I tried to use the one on the eye and it just didn't seem to work. It's okay, you can have thicker parts of the facial features. But then we're going to go still the felt tip, dip pen hard, and we're going to take the one size, still with the stabilizer on, and we're going to add the face scales and details that we need. Now, with the top part of the scales, I always like to just take from the corner of the eye and go up, because that's the easiest way I've found that helps me do this. Then make sure you have a nice smooth edge, and then start on the underside of the scales. Now, I've seen some people just have that and then no dots. I prefer the dots, but you can do whatever you want because it's your art. But here are the little dots on the scales. I really like drawing these because they're just so quick and cute to draw. Just like you see that, just shoop, and then it's done, and it's cute. But alright, now we're going to move on to the actual eye part. Now, I typically like to keep their eyes round and kind of like in the center whenever I do headshots. And that was a really small pupil. Don't worry, I will fix that in a second. I will fix it even more. But right now I'm going to take off the bottom layer that I had my original sketch on. And we're going to go and make sure that we have nothing wrong. I'm going to go fix the eye really quick. Make sure that everything's okay, and that is it. I'm pretty sure. Oh, no, that's right. I'm going to draw the lines for the scales. Now with nostrils, I still have problems, so I just drew a little line right there. As you can see, I'm not going down into the bottom ones because I feel like those ones should have a different kind of pattern because they started at a different time, and they won't be perfect. I know it really bothers me, but I just feel like I have to because it's more accurate in a sense. But after I do this, I'm going to be trimming the canvas to make sure that the headshot is in an appropriate view and not too far away on the canvas. Because I've learned that trimming it is just way easier than trying to resize the entire thing. So that is what we have. I'm going to take it and hit trim and then trim it. And that is it. I hope you enjoyed.